Utopia, The Fight for Palace. Read and written by Karen Teune. Interior, small house above general store, dawn. The sunrise glows through the window of a small, quaint bedroom filled with drawings, brochures, and posters, some ripped and taped back together. They are all about a utopian island country named Palace. A determined and very pretty teenager, Frankie Bellator, 17, jumps out of bed and tiptoes down the hallway. A voice whispers from the next room. Lux. Frankie, my dear. Frankie stops to peek into the bedroom. Lux and Abe Bellator, 70s. Frankie's hippie and eccentric grandparents are in a vintage framed bed. Abe is snoring loudly. Frankie. Morning, Grandma. I'll be back before lunch. I know I can't stop you. Be careful, please. I'm just going to the lookout. Bring Oscar with you. Frankie walks downstairs and through an eclectic-looking general store. Oscar, come on, buddy boy. A large, scruffy dog, Oscar, wakes up and follows Frankie. Exterior, Lux and Abe's general store, dawn. Frankie and Oscar leave the store. In front, a vintage marquee reads Lux and Abe's general store. Exterior, the Palace Mountains, morning. Frankie runs expertly through a thick, lush forest with her dog closely at her heels. She stops at a clearing at the edge of a hill, which is just high enough to look out over a massive wall. A schlumpy-looking guard, wearing a drab uniform, paces back and forth. Frankie can barely see the peak of a modern city surrounded by mountains and flanked by a turbulent ocean on the north side of the wall. Interior, the Pierce Building, penthouse, morning. A distinguished and kind-looking old man, Chauncey Pierce, 80s, sits in a huge, sparse living room. Hands shaking, he struggles to unlock a small wooden chest. A clever and complicated boy, Warner Pierce, 18, enters the room on his best behavior and clears his throat. Warner. Chauncey Pierce, sir, the Sikorsky awaits to journey you to the shoals for the ceremony today. That'll be sufficient. I have a plethora of ideas to improve your speech. Shall I escort you to the launch pad? Chauncey turns around. A smile creeps across his face. Warner laughs and helps Chauncey off the leather couch. Grandpa, I can't keep a straight face when I practice. Grandpa, you can't keep a straight face when I practice. Chauncey. Just be yourself, my boy. Someday you may have the keys to my kingdom, and you will be required to be kind, honest, and fair. And yourself. Chauncey puts his arm around Warner as they walk to the door. You just keep practicing that. None of this fake fancy stuff. Dad thinks I should be acting more grown up. Warner, I will handle your father. I overheard him talking about his plans for the island. He wants to tear everything down and rebuild it his way. Over my dead body. Chauncey clutches the wooden chest as they leave the room. Exterior, the Pierce Building, rooftop, morning. Chauncey and Warner run into the helicopter on the windy rooftop. The helicopter takes off over the city. The Palace Mountains, morning. Frankie watches the helicopter lift off from the Pierce Building in the distance. Oscar barks at the helicopter as it circles around the mountain range. I know, buddy. We'll get there. Someday. I promise. Frankie and Oscar watch with determination as dark clouds roll in above them and a powerful wind blows their hair back. Interior helicopter day. Chauncey and Warner smile at each other as they approach the shoals, a beautiful white sands beach stretching out from epic cliffs and miles of very shallow water shining like crystal. Exterior the shoals, day. A boardwalk stretches into the shallow waters and stops at a small island about half a mile off the beach. On the island is a statue covered by a sheet. Chauncey stands at a podium. surrounded by about 24 people. Some are media with cameras, mics, and notepads, and the rest are well-dressed citizens. Standing behind Chauncey is Chauncey's grandson, Warner. Chauncey's son, aggressive-looking with a grimace, Saga Pierce, 40s, and Saga's wife, overdone and insecure, Glenn Finder, 40s. Chauncey, addressing the small crowd. My fellow friends and citizens of our dear country of Palace, thank you all for joining me and my family to commemorate this special occasion, the 40th anniversary of the day that my beautiful wife and I set foot on this island. We purchased this glorious piece of land with our hard-earned money from Pierce Technology, and the simple dream that a utopian society was not only possible, but fully achievable. The crowd claps and cheers as Chauncey turns and pulls off the sheet to reveal a beautiful marble statue of a young, gorgeous woman in a strong and graceful pose. I wish to rededicate the success of Palace to my late partner in all things and my eternal love, my dear wife, forevermore, Nella Lucille Hollingsworth Pierce. Chauncey addresses the statue as he gets choked up. My dear sweet Nella, it was because of you that our vision of selfless, community-based togetherness became a reality on this, the most magnificent piece of land on the planet. We honor you now and always. He kisses the statue, caught up in the moment. Saga tenses up and grits his teeth as the crowd snaps photos and awes at the sappy scene. The chest, my boy. Warner hands Chauncey the wooden chest and helps him with the small key to unlock it. And now, may our utopian paradise be forever blessed by the last of your earthly remains, my dear sweet Nella. Chauncey thrusts the small chest into the air and everyone gasps as ashes and a curly lock of brown hair gets caught up in the breeze and floats away. A couple fireworks take off from the shore and the crowd breaks with laughter and cheer. Saga, aggressively pulling Chauncey aside. Father, this pointless ceremony is taking away from the progress in my work. Fantastic! I'm happy to do whatever I can to slow down your experiments. I do not know how you were taught such a backwards idea of progress, being raised in such a perfect place. Perfection is a whimsical concept that does not hold water to the realities of the world, planet Earth, which is where we live, not some fairy tale utopia without flaws that you imagine you created. That your mother and I created, and if you disrespect her legacy one more time, the board will be happy to re-examine the case surrounding your deportation. Oh, you're pathetic, Father. You have no power to deport me, with or without the board. I hold the codes to every device, every piece of technology, every microchip on this island. I've allowed this silly facade of you being in power to continue only because the people love you. And why do you think that is, Saga? Because you've catered to their every desire, but the second you take it away, your most trusted friends would turn on you in a heartbeat. Chauncey looks deeply into Saga's eyes. I'm sorry I wasn't able to spend more time nurturing you, teaching you empathy, love, and generosity. With no mother and an overly ambitious father creating a civilization from scratch, what do I expect? I have truly failed you, my son. Please, accept my apology. Stop with the ridiculous antics. Bottom line, we cannot make room for the new until we destroy the old. Chauncey turns to smile, shake hands, hug and kiss the crowd around him as Saga power walks down the boardwalk towards the beach. Exterior, Palace Mountains, day. Fireworks pop in the distance as Frankie runs from the lookout toward the city. She slides down a treacherous little path and loses her footing. Oscar is not far behind as Frankie tumbles through the shrubbery to the bottom of the hill. Exterior, the palace mountains. Wall. Day. Frankie recovers from her fall and looks up at the very tall, thick wall that separates her from the mountains and the city in the distance. Another slumpy guard leans against the wall a couple yards away, keeping an eye on Frankie. Oscar barks at a hawk that swoops back and forth and lands on a low branch of the tree right above them. Oscar, quiet. It's okay. She's our friend. Frankie smiles at the hawk, trying to get a closer look. It seems to cock his head in a robotic way. Oscar barks at the hawk again, knowing something. The hawk opens its huge wings, squawks loudly, and flies away. Thunder and lightning clap in the far distance. Cut to an original TV commercial for the new country of Palace. The year is 1979. A 40-year-old Chauncey Pierce and an even younger Nella make this advertisement to get people from all over the world to move to their island and be part of an entirely new vision for a loving, equal, non-violent, currency-less, community-based society they call Utopia. In the commercial, Chauncey explains a cutting-edge invention that his tech company in New York City, Pierce Technology, has developed. He calls it a PAC, P-A-C, Palace Activating Chip, and describes it as a small device functioning like a smartphone that keeps track of the hours of various jobs contributed to the community. The PAC also acts as a scanner, for identity recognition through private entryways and to acquire resources such as food and specialty items. The commercial includes a sped-up building simulation of the beautiful city of Palace Heights, perfectly situated on the ocean and surrounded by a mountain range. Interior, Lux and Abe's General Store. Day. Frankie, now wearing an apron, stacks cans of corn, labeled Pierce Enterprises, as she stares at Chauncey's original commercial from the 70s playing on a loop on a small outdated television hanging in the corner of the colorful and tidy but worn-down store. Frankie doesn't notice the chime as the front door opens. Bo Goodman, 17, handsome and athletic, reaches for the TV and switches the channel to a polo match. Hey! Stop torturing yourself, Frankfurter. You're never going to live there. Let it go. I'll have you know the word never is strictly prohibited in Lux and Abe's General Store. All right. If you'd prefer to live in delusion, be my guest. Bo grabs a crate of canned peas. More processed crap from the penthouse that's going to send me to an early grave. Where do you want 'em, boss? It's not the sane people who force the limiting mindsets of society to evolve. Frankie helps Bo stack the cans behind the register. Then make this side of the island awesome. Stop wishing you were somewhere else. We're still part of Palace, Bo. Bo shrugs and dumps a bag of small lemons into a glass jar on the counter. I still believe in Chauncey's vision, you know? Even if I haven't been able to experience it for myself, be on that side of the island, and see and understand what's going on, I'd like to meet him. Hear more about the conversations him and Nella had together at the original inception of their dream world. I think I could give him some more ideas on how to improve the concept of utopia that they started with. You know, what people really want. Bo is genuinely confused. What makes you think he cares about anything you have to say? Frankie looks at him unaffected. Well, when you get the chance, why don't you ask him why we're all trapped over here paying for the mistakes of our parents? Bo grabs the empty boxes and heads for the door. Hey, don't skip out tonight, Frankenstein. Your mom needs you. What if we could make up for their mistakes instead of paying for them? Bo snaps, Hey, Take the world off your shoulders, kid. Everything's okay. Just be grateful for what we have here, please. I'm begging you. Exterior Lux and Abe's General Store, day. Dark clouds roll in and begin to drizzle. Frankie follows Bo out the door without a word as Abe and Lux pull up in an old convertible bug. Abe. Hey, good to see you, Bo. Turning into another great day. Bo, you got that right. Bo looks at Frankie as he opens the door to his rusty truck. I do love a good rain. Keeps the crops fresh and clears the way for new, wonderful ways to love this place. Huh, Frankie? Lots to be thankful for. Frankie looks at him, smiling. Abe waves at Bo and chuckles as he pulls away. Abe claps his hands together. All right, let's see. I'll tackle this marquee after lunch when the storm clouds pass. How's that, Mama? Lux, as long as I can catch a glimpse of that cute tush up in the air at some point, I'm a happy lady. Favorite part of my day, Pops. Frankie laughs at them. An electronic ringing comes from inside the store, and they all nod at each other in acknowledgement, and Frankie runs back inside. Interior Lux and Abe's General Store, day. An incoming video call appears on the old TV. Frankie hits a button on a small remote, and a woman wearing jail scrubs appears in a small, dingy room, holding a large landline phone to her ear. Looks like she used to be attractive, worn out, pretty neurotic. Mollis Bellatar, 40s, exhausted. Speaks quickly and urgently. Mollis, you guys have got to pick up the phone immediately when I call. How's your day going, Mom? It's terrible. What do you think? Why do you ask me that every time I call? Frankie stares at the screen, takes a deep breath, unable to speak. Frankie, listen. I need you to get a letter over the wall. It's for Saga Pierce. This is very serious. I cannot get north of that wall, Mom. No one can. Believe me, I've tried. I am disappointed in you, Frankie. I thought I built a warrior. This is the time. We must act now. I want to, Mama. I do. Abe and Lux enter the room. Lux, you're looking well today, my love. How's your day going? Mollis glares at them through the screen. Frankie, I'll see you at the party. Mollis hangs up.